In this video, let's just try to go through over some multiple choice questions for biology paper 1. So the first question is saying all living organisms release energy from nutrient molecules within their cells. The question is saying what is the name of this characteristic? So we have option A, which is saying growth. So in terms of growth, this one is just the permanent increase in size and the body mass of a living organism. So it's not an answer. Then for B, nutrition. When you talk of nutrition, this one is just the process by which living organisms obtain their food or obtain food. Then as for C, it is saying respiration. So respiration is the process by which now living organism releases energy from the food that they eat. Then as for D, sensitivity. When you talk of sensitivity, it is the ability of a living organism to detect a particular stimuli. So in talk of stimuli or stimulus, this one is just an external factor which is going to cause an organism to respond. For example, you can talk of chemicals, temperature, and so on. Which qualifies to be the answer here is going to be C. Let's see the next one. So the next one is saying the diagram shows a cross section through two guard cells of a leaf. So we have part W, which is the nucleus, part X, which is the cell membrane. Then as for part Y, which is the chloroplast. Then also part Z, which is also going to be part of the inner or the external membrane in that way. Now, we can just say the cell wall. Somehow, it looks like a cell wall. So it's a cell wall. Then the question is saying which labeled structures would also be found in an animal cell. So now you're going to find that an animal cell doesn't have the chloroplast and also the cell wall. It only has the nucleus, the cell membrane, the cytoplasm, and so on. So meaning the only answer which is going to be qualified here is going to be X and W, which is going to be A. The next question, it is saying the table shows some structures found in the human body. Which row shows the correct level of organization from the simplest structure to the most complex? So this one is talking about organization, and organization starts from where? From the organelles. Now, according to what we have here, it is starting from the cells. So I'm not going to start from the organelles, but I'm going to start with the cells. Then after the cells, the tissue is going to be formed. Then after the tissue, what is going to be followed next is going to be the organ. Then after the organ, the system is going to be formed. Then after the system, the last one is going to be an organism. So looking at the options that we have here, A is saying we have the red blood cell. Of course, it's going to be qualified to be a cell. The heart. The heart is not the tissue, but it is an organ. So A is not the answer. B, we have the simplest one, the heart muscles or the heart muscle. Heart muscle is not a cell. So meaning even B is not going to be qualified to be the answer. Then as for C, we have red blood cell, which is going to be the cell, of course. Then followed by the heart muscle, which is going to be the tissue. Followed by the heart, which is going to be the organ. Followed by the circulatory system, which is going to be the system. So meaning C is going to be our answer. The next question. The diagram shows a section through a mesophyll cell of a leaf. Which part is partially permeable? So in talk of a part which is partially permeable, the other way that we can use for partially permeable, it is selectively semi-permeable. Now the part which is selectively semi-permeable is called the cell membrane, and the cell membrane in this diagram is structure B. So meaning B is going to be the answer. The next question. Which process involves the removal of material from the rectum? So we have A, which is egestion, B, which is ingestion, C, chemical digestion, D, mechanical digestion. So in talk of egestion, it is the removal of material from the rectum. Then when talk of ingestion. This one, it is the intake of the food into the buccal cavity. Okay. Then when you talk of chemical digestion, this one deals with the digestion involving the enzymes. When you talk of mechanical digestion, this one is going to involve the use of teeth, or we can say the teeth. Now, to select the option E, just going to be A. That's a removal of material from the rectum. Then the next one is, before meiosis takes place, a cell has 24 chromosomes. How many chromosomes will be found in each of the cells that are produced by meiosis? Okay. So now, let me just give you an example. We have what we call diploid and haploid. When you talk of haploid, it is just the half of diploid. So haploid is represented by N and diploid is represented by 2N. That is one thing that you need to understand here. So if you have haploid to be 8, what is going to be the diploid? When you talk of diploid, meaning you're going to multiply by 2, so it's going to be 16. Now, when meiosis occurs, you're going to find that 4 haploid daughter cells are going to be produced. So if we have 24 chromosomes, so meaning after meiosis occurs, we're going to have still 24 chromosomes. Now let's say, for example, if initially we are having 24 chromosomes and then the cell undergoes mitosis, meaning the number of chromosomes are going to be doubled, because when you talk of mitosis, this is the process by which 2 identical diploid daughter cells are produced. When I said diploid, meaning it is just the 2 times of the haploid or monoploid. So meaning the answer here is just going to be 24, because we're talking of meiosis and the number of chromosomes they are going to be constant, or they are going to stay the same. Now, if the question was talking about mitosis, meaning the answer would have been D, which is 48. Okay. Then the next one, when a horse with red hair, which is the genotype having this one, bleeds with a horse with white hair, where we are having the genotype as this, the offspring have red and white hair, which is R and W for the genotype. These horses are described as having roan colored hair. This is an example of codominance. When 2 horses with roan colored hair are bleed together, so meaning here, let me just erase this part so that I explain a little bit about this one. So they are saying, if 2 roan horses are closed, what is the chance of their offspring also having roan colored hair? So we are closing this one with the same one. So we're going to find that, let me just use the initials. We have RW close with RW. This one is going to be close with this one. Here we are going to have RR. This one is going to be close with this one. We are going to have RW. This one is going to be close with this one. We are going to have RW. And this one is going to be close with this one. We are going to have WW. So we have how many roan offsprings here? We have 2. So to find the probability or the chances, we are going to say, since we have 2 roan offsprings having a roan coat color, so we are going to say is 2 divided by the total number of offsprings. Here we have 4 as the total number of offsprings multiplied by 100%. So once you find the percentage here, you're going to find that it is going to be what? 50%, because 2 into 2 is 1 and 2 into 4 it is 2. Then the half of 100 is what? 50. So meaning the answer is going to be C. So let's see the next one. Some terms used to describe enzyme controlled reactions are listed. So we have a catalyst, product, protein, and substrate. Which terms describe an enzyme? So an enzyme, of course, it is a catalyst, it is not a product, it is a protein, and it is not a substrate. So meaning here we have 1 and what? 3. So the answer is going to be A. Then the next one. Which statement describes the effect of temperature on enzymes? So high temperatures denature enzymes, making it difficult for substrate molecules to fit into the active site. So this one is correct before I even read the rest of the options. When you increase the temperature, you're going to find that the higher the temperature, the higher the rate of enzyme reaction. But you're going to find that there will be a point whereby the activity of enzyme is going to reach the optimum temperature. Now, exceeding the optimum temperature, you're going to find that enzymes are going to undergo denaturalization. And once they undergo denaturalization, the active site of an enzyme is going to be destroyed. Therefore, the substrate is not going to fit on the active site. So the answer is going to be A. Then the last one. The diagram shows the circulatory system of a fish. So we have the gills and also the arrows showing the direction flow of oxygen. Now, the question is saying, where in the circulatory system is the oxygen concentration lowest? Now, let me just do this. These are the gills, and in the gills, that is where the exchange of gases takes place. So once the gills inhales, absorbs the oxygen, it is going to go through of, or it is going to flow in this direction. So meaning here we're going to have the highest concentration of oxygen. Then the body is going to use the same oxygen. Even here we are going to have high concentration of oxygen. Now, after passing through the heart, at point X, that is where now you are going to have the lowest concentration of oxygen, meaning the answer here is just going to be N. So that was the last one. Thanks for watching and see you next time.